This is The Next Moves, and it's a series of interviews that I'm doing with people who have built incredible companies and awesome careers. And I'm doing this for a very simple reason. There's so many times in my career as a recruiter that I'm sitting in these meetings and I'm listening as a CEO, a member of their leadership team, another founder is talking about the landscape of the decisions that they had in front of them, how they considered them, and how they picked a direction. And I'm thinking to myself, this would be so valuable for people because we all get stuck. And my goal here is to help you get unstuck. And I think we can do that by looking at the decisions that people had in front of them, how they consider their options, and how they move forward. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes people make very calibrated, thoughtful decisions. And then the other time it feels like they just flip a coin. And I think we can learn from both of those. So without further ado, let's meet some guests.
I've always had prove it deals. I would put it to you that way, and prove it opportunities. It was never laid out. There was never a path that said Rakesh is going to be this in X amount of time or so on. And so you had to go out and prove it.
Things are moving at breakneck speed and only moving faster. And so this is something I'm just trying to tell everybody. We told it to you, we're telling it to everybody, is that you need to get on this train. You need to get on this train now.
Well, the way that we make decisions is we do try. We make an effort at this. Because when I ask people to describe how did you choose your lunch or your coffee, they kind of say, yeah, I thought about how much time I had and then maybe how much money I wanted to spend. And then they look up at me and they smile. And this is the moment when their brain breaks or they're bounded in their rationality to be more scientific.
The biggest concern that I hear from employees who are involved in a restructuring, that restructuring, whether it's a layoff, an acquisition or merger, the biggest concern that I have, that I hear is about a lack of transparency and communication.
It takes a while for any founder or entrepreneur to come to the conclusion that what has worked before isn't going to work anymore. And that is why those situations are very challenging, is there's often a crisis point or a pivot point that is uncomfortable because there's an underestimation of the point the business is at. There's an underestimation of the role luck has played, and there's an underestimation of being able to look around at their own leadership team and determine if they've got the right people to make that pivot and grow differently.
And then it kind of blew up. Where I was still probably the early days. It was 2010. The search fund concept had not been done in Canada, or maybe one or two had been done. And I then wrote a microcap opportunity as a thesis for one of my professors on Canada. He said, I'd be your first investor if you want to do one of the first search funds in Canada. And that's where I kind of started the concept and then found a business partner and we moved back to Canada.